story time on how, as a toddler, I tested, vetted, and formulated the conclusion that all men are pedos. Now, hold with me. I was maybe 4 or 5. I don't remember. It was way before kindergarten. And this was maybe one of my very first memories ever. And I remember I was in the street. We were playing back home where I was from. We were playing in the street, just me and my brothers and his friends. They were all the way on the other side of the street playing, and I was standing alone on purpose on the other side to make it look like I was alone and I don't know these other kids and I'm alone, right? So I formulated this testing where I thought every man, adult, of course, I was a child, is attracted to me. Every man is trying to be with me. I knew they were off. I knew they were like creepy, but I just knew they all were attracted to me. So I formulated this test. The first man that will walk the street, it was a very long street back home, and I thought, and it was, it was back in the Middle East, so it was people always walk in the middle of the street, that's how it is. I stood, kind of near where my house is, and I stood right there in front of a tree, and I waited, and I stood and I said, the first man that's gonna walk through this street are gonna come and try to talk to me and touch me. And I was full on believing that this is what's gonna happen. So I stood there, and I knew for some reason that all pedos kinda liked fat children. So I stood there and I blew my cheeks like this a little bit, but in a realistic way, in my head at least. As a toddler, that was my thought. And I said, I'm gonna close my eyes, but lightly, so I just look like I'm not in tune with anybody and I'm not suspecting him, right? So I see a man going through, and I'm like, let me just do this, just a test, just to see if I'm right, that all men are pedos. So I stood there, I did this, and I closed my eyes, and I blew my cheeks just a little bit, and I said, I'm gonna count from 1 to 10, and he's gonna reach me from the end of the street, and he's gonna be standing right in front of me, and he's gonna talk to me and immediately touch me. So, and then I hear footsteps, he's very close, I open my eyes, and he's right in front of me, and he's touching me. And I'm like, I fucking said it. All men are pedos. All men are obsessed with me. A toddler. And then my brothers immediately noticed him, and then they looked, and they were like, what the fuck, why is this man touching you? And then I was like, I don't know. And then they looked at them. The dude looked at them, and they saw that I knew these other kids. He immediately backed off and walked away. But then my theory formalized furthermore as an adult at this age, actually, until I would say 19, I believed all men are pedos. Not just from this experience, it's because I was selectively recognizing these familiarities, I could never say that word, with these men, and I could just pick a pedo from a lineup. I don't know how I do it, but I just knew, because even in school and wherever, in kindergarten, I just knew a man that looked at me for a second longer than a normal adult, or in my head, it was a woman. If this man looks at me for a second longer than what all other women would, then this man is attracted to me. And it would be 100% true. These men who would look at me for, in my head, just a tiny bit longer, it would immediately like, he's one of those who was obsessed with me as a child. And this was not the only incidents where I recognized pedos in my childhood. It was also, like when I was a kid, men would come and visit with their wives and whatever, like family friends would come and visit, and there's always a father, he comes and that knows my mom, and and his wife knows my mom, whatever. They come and visit our house, and I would be like a kid, maybe 8 or 9, and when they see me, and I'm just wearing normal clothes, don't tell me about my clothes, I'm wearing a PJs, a sweater, whatever, and then when they see me, they immediately, like, if they were fasting, right, for, like, I don't know, I don't want to explain too much, so it's not too long, but when they're fasting for, like, their religion, right, so they're fasting so they can't look at women because women are a sin, but I'm not a woman, I'm an 8-year-old child, so I would open the door, say hi, they would immediately look at me, and take that second too long look that I recognize as a kid, and be like, astaghfirullah. They do this all the time, which is like, God forbid in English. Every time they look at me, they don't want to look at me. They do this because as a kid, when they look at me, in their head, they're sinning. Because why? Why are they sinning when they're looking at a child? Are you sinning when you're looking at a child? No. Unless you're a pedo who thinks pedophilically when you look at a child, aka you're sinning. Anyways, what other incident? Then we moved to another country. My mom was also friends with another, woman and her husband. She wasn't really friends with the husband, only the woman. But I would go downstairs to, greet the woman and bring her a cake and whatever that my mom cooked that day. And the husband of that woman was obsessed with me. And the woman, the wife, my mom's friend, knows, even my mom knows, that he was in love with me and obsessed with me. My mom knows, his wife knows. They make little jokes about it, but he's obsessed with me. Every time I come, he runs to the door to talk to me. His wife feels insecure because she knows he's in love with me. I was 8 at that time, by the way. So paint a picture, okay? She knows, right? She feels very uncomfortable. She always doesn't want me to talk to him. She feels jealous. She doesn't want him to see me. She feels jealous. My mom knows too, because it's very obvious. It's very obvious, but they don't. In these areas, I don't know. I think maybe in the Middle East or wherever, or maybe because I'm a kid, they're so young, they just kind of don't think too much about it, but they know it's pedophilia. It's not just a cute kid that this old man is obsessed with and thinks is super cute. No. This man is obsessed with me in a weird, creepy way. And they know. And the woman feels jealous. And she told mom that she feels kind of annoyed when I come and bring the food, which is, I'm like there, just handing her the food, and I go upstairs. I was like kind of an awkward child. I don't really talk at all. So I just give her, and I'd be like, thank you, mom, send me this, thanks, and I just go. It's nothing deep. And then, she always feels insecure, and she told mom, I was like, oh, my husband is like obsessed with your daughter. And, they mean it in a pet, they know what it is. And it's just that. But these are my very, obvious, in your face memories of that. That's why I formulated that take. But I changed my mind and I talked about it in my other video. But yeah. Okay. Not that not all of them. But yeah. I've encountered a lot of pedophilic instances in the States too. From being hit on the streets, which is a girl universal experience, as well as being hit on at the gym, telling men, yo, bro, I'm 13, and they still continuously coming over to me every single day, knowing I'm 13 in the United States. Don't tell me nothing about, oh, this is the Middle East. It's normalized because of religion. They normalize pedophilia because of Islam. It has nothing to do with religion, with the Middle East. I grew up over there, and I grew up over here as well. Child over here, child over there as well. Right? So, both scenarios, the only constant is men. So it has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with men. Over here, we see normalizing pedophilia via TV, via shows, via movies. We see celebrities in the 2000s dating and marrying children, 15, 14. And I know like a couple out of the top of my head that married a 15-year-old and dated a 16-year-old. All cultures normalize pedophilia, some more than others, because it's a man thing. I talked about my discovery as a toddler. My current take as an adult, all men by default are pedos. However, men with self-awareness and who question societal norms are not pedophilic. So, misogynistic men are in the default no awareness bracket. Therefore, they always have pedo-like tendencies and fall into the pedo mindset. The only thing that stops the average man is jail. Most people don't have awareness, but lack thereof in men reveals itself in pedophilia and misogyny, because it's normalized for them in society. As a child and a teenager, I knew the pedos. It would be always the ones that identify as stereotypical men. Saying stereotypical things, acting in a stereotypical way, thinking about women in a stereotypical misogynistic way. 100% of those are pedos, and I've tested it. I've checked all of them. I've checked every type, and I had tests. Every man I would date, I would be a temptress for pedos. So they would be in love with me, of course. I can always know what's the type of woman they want, the type of girl. And I would show myself as that. And then I would tell them, yo, I'm 18. And then I would always see them 100% of the time being super excited and happy, exuding with happiness, knowing that I'm 18. There is other classifications of men that I've discovered throughout my testing that would date or wouldn't date children, but doesn't exempt them from pedophilia. So they would be like, okay, I don't want to be dating somebody who's 18, but they do, or they're still pedophilic. They just have other reasons, which it would make the video too long, so it's irrelevant. I'll maybe talk about it another time. But the only specific type that didn't want to date a child for the right reasons, it would be the self-aware men. Not to be confused with the ones that are trying to prove or show themselves as self-aware, because those are obviously not. Only the ones that are truly self-aware, and you can actually feel that. Now, you can also sense the ones that are it's very easy to sense it. Those are the only ones that aren't pedophilic. So if you're talking to a man who's giving misogyny, throw him away. He's one of the pedos. So yeah, I do date men. you know? But only a very specific type, because all the other types are pedos, and I've done the deepest experience and the deepest discoveries from a very early childhood, because I had a very early awakening as a toddler, and I just needed to test that, and I tested, and it was true. It was 100% of the time, and I can pick a pedo 100% of the time, and it would be all men. All men. I tested. I put all type of. It's all men. The only ones who aren't are the self-aware ones. Those are the only ones that would test and would run away for the right reasons. Right? So I'm like, okay. This is because of that, and it would be just that. All the other ones